Okay, students, this is your 5-minute warning. I repeat, 5-minute warning.
Silence. This is the 5-minute warning with Ruben Brown, happening right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, children, well, not really children, because this is locked to children, so children can't really listen to it because we be talking that craziness. Welcome. It's another episode of 5-Minute Warning. Once again, of course, it is me, Ruben, and of course, we got AG and Moby in the house. How y'all doing today?
Y'all, what's up? How you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah,
I was told I was being hard on Florida, so I wore my international hat for solidarity.
By the way, that's a backhanded way of you still being hard on Florida.
especially of all the Florida teams, you put the Marlins.
I mean, you say that, but out of their professional teams, what other teams? Well, other than recently Tampa Bay, I mean, Florida, the Marlins were the last team that had won a championship.
No,
I mean,
that's not true. I thought Tampa Bay's first championship was after the Marlins. Is that not true?
No.
Mm-mm.
The Marlins unfortunately won two since Tampa Bay won their last one. And
Oh,
then on top of that, that would be that is the last international team to win because the Blue Jays won, I believe, in 92, 93.
Oh, so I'm messed up when I say international, but you say international, and it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. When you see, it's his show. See,
AG, you be reading my mind, dog, because that's exactly what I was about to say.
Still his show.
I mean, at least for now.
No, it's your
right,
show.
it's your
It's
show.
always going to be your show.
because see, when I mess up, I'm gonna blame you because it's your show.
Exactly.
I mean, you got to blame yourself if you mess
No,
up.
I don't because it's your show.
Your
Hey.
show.
You know what? I'm not Cuomo, so I'm good.
Wow.
That's right. I'm going to throw it out there. Cuomo, he got some issues going on.
Which one? I mean, you can't just say Cuomo.
Not-
They're two
not saying-
public Cuomos.
The daughter doesn't have issues. She's just got an
No.
lifestyle.
Daddy Cuomo. Well, Governor Cuomo. Let's do
I'm
that.
about to say let's say Daddy Cuomo. You still talking about two
Yeah.
public figure Cuomo?
Yeah, CNN Cuomo's all right. He'd be funny. But, let's just be real. I mean, we're not going to take any time talking about it, but come on, man. Really?
Only thing I have to say about the Cuomos right now is polyamorous.
I mean, ain't nothing
I ain't
wrong
gonna
with
lie.
CNN Cuomo.
Huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with CNN Cuomo. He be doing his due, but the other dude, you can't be touching little girls and stuff. That's just messed up.
Well, he said he's
Allegedly.
now, so it is what it is.
Allegedly.
Yeah, you're right. Allegedly. I mean, but if you allege it, you already done pretty much in this world.
Unfortunately, that's how the pendulum has swung.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, though. And we ain't here to talk about that guy. That's maybe in a couple weeks when we care about everything else other than what's really going on. It's crazy, man. This world is crazy. They decide they're going to go ahead and do the COVID-19 stuff. Yay, the $1.9 trillion bill and stuff. I mean, what I don't understand, and this is a very brief discussion I want to get into. What I don't understand is if there's something to help all the American people, why does one side say yes and the other side says no, regardless of it helping everybody? I don't understand that.
I'll let Moby handle that one.
I mean, you're not wrong because there's always going to be. Look, the Republicans have kind of made it a stance that no matter what, if the Democrats suggest it, we gonna deny it. But there are actual, fiscal conservatives out there who are saying you can't just throw money around to fix the problem because eventually somebody got to pay this money. If the government just throwing out billions of dollars, eventually that money got to come from somewhere. So, I mean, I can understand the people who are like, hey, where's this money coming from that we just giving people?
But has it got to be a whole party? Well, as Republicans, we feel like we don't know where this money comes from. But as Democrats, clearly we found the money. So it's just like,
well, look,
what?
that's kind of been the difference between the Republican parties for the last, some odd decades. Like Republicans hang their hat on being fiscally conservative, which means we don't believe in government giving people money. Period. We believe in collecting taxes and not necessarily giving any of that money back.
Okay. But that's the interesting part, because I feel like there are just as many Republicans as there's many Democrats who are in bad situations. So it's like, yeah, we don't know where this money's coming from, but we're not going to help our people.
Well, you see, but one of the Republican founding principles, as they say, is they're the party of personal responsibility, which basically means it ain't our problem, it's your problem. So I mean, most conservative Republicans are against any type of giving out of money to people, because
Okay.
they feel like it's personal responsibility. Like if you're in a financial hole, it's because of something you did. Because the American dream says if you just work hard enough and pick yourself up by the bootstraps, you'll be fine. Now we know like the real world doesn't work that way, but I mean that's how the American dream is founded upon, that everybody has equal opportunity to make something of themselves.
Fair enough.
Not my statements.
I mean, AG, you're the resident Republican here.
No, I mean, everything he's saying is true, and I don't not feel that way. But what's missing is, number one, compassion. Republicans in general have a problem with that. I don't, but they still have a problem with that. I think my upbringing was always exactly GOP. Whether my parents, my very democratic parents, knew that or not, they were preaching GOP to me my entire life. It's like, if you find, like Moby said, if you find yourself in a bind, there were decisions made by you that got you there. Now, for the most part, that's true, but there's also the stuff you couldn't control, which again, that compassion is not going to allow for it. Now, what surprises me is what Moby said is definitely an 80s, 90s thing. But what I'm seeing now since the turn of the century is those same Republicans that will preach what Moby said, what I heard all my life, and as a Republican believe in, as soon as they get some trouble, they sound Democratic as hell.
Oh yeah, you mean like when the banks get in trouble,
Yeah.
or when Wall Street gets
Exactly,
in trouble,
because in
or when the
2000
housing market crashes?
Because they made decisions that were horrible decisions on every level, not just fiscally, ethically, all of them. They were awful decisions, but they got bailed out because they were too big to fail. Well, I think the American people, the largest corporation in America, are too big to fail, because I promise you, if you don't show compassion to the largest corporation in America, then America will fail, or it will turn bad for a while and take that much longer to come back, if it ever really comes back the same. So when I think of it like that, I totally agree with what's going on. So again, I'm not one to judge somebody in a way in which I can't pay for. Because if I come out and say everything Moby said, which is absolutely true, and then something happens to me and I'm looking for help, I mean, excuse my French, but that make me a bitch.
Yeah, or
That's what
hypocrite.
that makes me. Because it was cool. It was cool when I was judging you. But now that it's me, then I'm looking just like the person I was just judging. I need a hand. I need this, just to make it by until I can do what I can do to get back on my own feet, because there's no such thing as bootstrapping. No one does it by themselves. No one. So again, man, there are too many things that can happen that cut both ways. And Republicans nowadays, they talk that talk, but they can't walk that walk. And I don't mean no harm, but bitches. So I'm just letting you know.
Wow.
So that's it is what it is. You have to have compassion in everything that you do, because things cut both ways. Things cut both ways. So, like I said,
Well,
that
you say you have to, but apparently you don't because
no,
they don't.
what I said, I think you have to. If you want everything to turn out well, then
Yeah.
you have to be able to do two things at once. You do, because as much as I disagree with the conservative idea of the world and how much they can't live up to their own hype, I'm as upset with people like AOC that say dumb mess out their mouth. Like, how you gonna charge? How are you gonna treat somebody that makes $10 million so bad that they can't afford to pay the people they need to pay so we can keep going as a country? That's some old, you know what? That's not cool either. And she has to people like her have to understand that it cuts both ways. If you stop the dude or the woman that goes out and makes decisions and they find themselves in a net worth that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 digits, then eventually they're not going to be able to keep the economy going because they can't afford to pay the people that they employ because you've made it so hard for them to be wealthy. At some point, you have to find somewhere and sit your ass down.
I agree. I agree with that, but unfortunately, people with money don't generally make money by giving it to others. So all of the rules in place that should be put in place so people with money can, take care of the people who work for them, that generally doesn't happen. Think about like all the small business loan bailout that happened, where half of them didn't actually go to small business. They went to shell corporations because people at the top found loopholes. So, I mean, once again, you're right. It cuts both ways, but the problem is like people suck.
Well, I realize that.
People aren't good. So when people get money, the one thing the millionaires don't want to do is give other people money.
No, I realize what you're saying. What you're saying is true, but I'm not talking about the real world because everything I'm saying is never, ever going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Ever. And that I'm talking about something that you should do. And I'm creating my own vacuum to answer the question. Because there's always going to be the AOCs that of the world that resent me because I've made money. And there's always going to be people out there that have made money that don't want to give any money. And as long as those people are there, we're always going to be at a stalemate. The divide between the rich and the poor will continue to spread, and it'll just keep getting worse. That's what human beings do. But in a perfect vacuum, the GOP can survive and ethically by making money, small government with compassion. People on the other side of the fence can, do what they need to do. Take a little GOP with a little Democrat and do it and make the whole thing work. Otherwise, we are what we are in reality. Everything I said is in a vacuum. That is never going to happen. What I said, I'm answering a question thinking this is what could happen if you did certain things. Period. Because there's nothing wrong with making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year and doing your thing. And there's nothing wrong with being a billionaire. But there's a whole lot wrong on both sides, and no one wants to say that they're wrong. Especially, like Moby said, especially people that got the power, they win it. If you got $1 billion, you win it. You ain't got to do nothing. So it is what it is. But it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse.
Yeah, no matter who's in charge.
Because like he said, I mean, as eloquently as you can say it, people suck.
Moco Cowboy says it's pretty easy to be the opposition conservative party because all they have to do is say no. Yeah, but both sides can say no. KB Yakko is like the Republicans spent more money last 4 years in most presidential terms, and they almost added as much to the debt as President Obama in 4 years instead of 8, which is very important. And we just got another $1.9 trillion added now. So I mean, we just in debt.
It is what it is, man.
But if the debt, at least at this point in time, the question would be, this debt will hopefully solve part of the problem. Now, how we come back from that is going to be how we are judged as a country.
Well, that's an entire show.
Yep. And which we're not going to talk about today. But I want to go ahead and let everybody know that if you're watching us on Twitch, thank you. You watch us on Facebook, thank you. We got some new handles down there for our Twitter accounts, our Instagram accounts, even our Twitch accounts. And as of today, we did also activate a YouTube page, and starting next week, we will be broadcasting on that on Sundays as well. So there are more ways to find 5 Minute Warning, or if you missed us on Sunday, every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's another way to find us. So the one thing I want to talk about today is probably the story that's been kind of running through everywhere. I've seen it in multiple places. I mean, we got a kid in Baltimore who passed 3 classes in 4 years, and somehow he ranks near the top half of his class with a 0.13 GPA. That's right. I said 0.13 GPA. So, quick, I guess. Basically, his kid is like 17 years old. He's a quote unquote senior, or he's senior age in high school. And he's only passed 3 classes. And mom was like, well, I didn't know. And I'm like, bruh, how you didn't know? But, mom works 3 jobs and put food on the table and try to do the best she can. And what I don't want to do, I want to talk about it a little bit, but what I don't want to do, I don't want to bash anybody. Because it's easy to bash mom for just not paying attention. I mean, let's just be real. It's easy to bash the kid because he either is not doing what he should be doing, or he needs help. It is easy to bash the school system because how did they allow this to happen? Because clearly they kept moving him from grade upon grade. And literally, let me repeat this one more time. In 4 years, this child has passed 3 classes.
What Cowboys like is the kid's special needs.
No.
The kid is not special needs. He's just lazy. Obviously.
Well, we don't know the kid.
We don't know that. We don't know the kid. You're right. That's fair. And it's so I see it's very hard for us to. It's hard to sit here and blame one person. To me, you blame all 3 collectively, because if this child went from 9th grade, went from 14 years old to 17 years old, and they only passed 3 classes, then they still should be in the 9th grade, but they're not. So, which means the school system is due diligence to push the child, which, who is that helping? Nobody. It ain't helping anybody whatsoever. So, instead of looking at the situation and really just throwing blame out there like Oprah gives away cars, because in this situation you can, what could be done to fix this problem? And I think that's why I want us to talk about for a little bit, because I feel like we're always wanting to throw blame and all this other stuff. Why don't we try to help Baltimore, give them a solution or two, as if they're listening?
Let me go first. Let me help you, because I want to get myself out of the way, because this is a non-issue for me. I'm going to say one thing, and it'll be it for me. Life is a performance-driven business. I don't care where you want to put that, but that is what it is. So I'm done.
Just like a performance car. You got to drive it until you get to where you cross the finish line, right?
Something. If something. So, I mean, I'm not going to play the blame game at all, because I think you're right. But somebody's got to do something, because if one person does anything, then we're not even talking about this. One person. If one party is doing anything, then we're not even really talking about this. So,
okay. Moby, what do you think?
It ain't about blame. It's about responsibility. And the truth of the matter is, there were 3 parties and nobody wanted to take responsibility. The school didn't take responsibility, because how you fail algebra 1, geometry, and algebra 2? How did you even get to the next ones if you had failed them? Like, because essentially, if you fail algebra 1 and then 2 years later you failed algebra 2, you were set up to fail algebra 2 because you had never passed algebra 1. I mean, the kid had missed so many days of school. So when I go to responsibility, that goes back to the parent, but it also goes back to him because at 14 years old, like, you knew you won't pass in classes. So when the mom says, I didn't know, yeah, it's her job to know. It's also his job to know too, because he couldn't possibly have thought, oh, well, I'm going to graduate. I passed 3 classes. I'm going to graduate. I mean, they make that old statement, it takes a village. Well, I mean, the reason it takes a village is because everybody has a role or responsibility. And if one person drops the ball, somebody else can pick up the slack. But the problem is we live in a society where we want to blame before we take responsibility. So everybody involved wants to blame the next person as opposed to taking the response. Like, I would have felt so much better about the mom if she would have been like, I didn't know, and that's my fault. I've been so busy with work and everything else that I failed him. And I would love for him to be like, yo, I failed because I knew I wasn't passing and I never sought help. I let the school push me. And the school, I mean, look, the school is overpopulated, underfunded, and truthfully, they just want to get rid of kids. Like, that's the system we've built. So there's enough blame to go around. The problem is, who the hell gonna take responsibility? Like, who's gonna hold themselves accountable in this situation? Because reading that whole story, I didn't see not one person take any bit of accountability. The school didn't take any accountability. The mom ain't take accountability. And I mean, we ain't hear from the son, but I know he didn't take accountability. He ain't taking no accountability for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, then in the article they moved him to an accelerated school. The kid's 17. How about we just go ahead and let him get his GED? Let him work for a year to get his GED. So at the very least, when he turns 18, he has a chance. They're talking about him graduating at 22 or 23 from high school. What?
You see,
Man.
but you talking about him telling him to get his GED as if he has the tools to even start the process of getting your GED.
Well,
because if he ain't passed for 3 classes, I mean, we don't know what level he's reading at. We don't know what level of math he's processing. Like, to say, let's get a GED, it might take him 2 or 3 years to be able to pass the GED. So, I mean, the accelerated school thing might be the best thing because they just go at school at your own pace and they push you through once you pass different criteria for classes. So you saying it could be 22, but it could realistically be 20, 21, could be 19 if he ain't stupid, he's just lazy. I mean, like, look, that's the best case scenario. The best case scenario is he ain't stupid, he just lazy and ain't been going to school for whatever reason.
Well, in the article, it does say if our son works hard, he could graduate by 2023. And I mean, because literally he has to take all those classes over. Whereas at least if you're doing a GED, you're kind of getting proficient in stuff more like a 6-week type of thing instead of like a semester type of thing. I understand.
You got to be on the level to start that.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter what level he's on because he's either on 9th grade level or he's on 9th grade level.
See, but that's the thing. You don't even know if he's on 9th grade level for real because we don't know if he's been pushed through in high school. Who knows what middle school was like?
Yeah, but I guess my thing is I can't imagine him being 20 plus years old, still in school, and mentally wanting to do it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because 20, I mean, you're right. It's 2 years from now. So yeah, 2 years different, and I guess this school's set up for more of adults type of deal. So maybe they'll come at him a little differently. But I guess my thing is, I just want him, me personally, I want him to be able to move his way through it, learn, get whether it's a GED or his diploma or whatever, as soon as possible, the best way possible. And I think, at least, I would definitely say of all the things that's going on, that's probably the one thing that's being done right now. that he's in an accelerated school. So, I mean, I wish the best for him. I just hope that we can. I hope this is the only time this happens, even though it's not. This is the only one we know about. So I hope that other schools and school systems can learn from this and be like, yo, that can't be us. We need to make some things happen. That's my thought process.
And the big thing before we move on, this is one kid we talking about. He's in the top third of his class. So that means there's way more kids at this school in a worse situation. He's in the top third of his class. That means there's 67% of the people that are in his class that have passed less than 3 classes.
I mean, and this is this is a very long conversation that we can't get into today. That's my thing on education, man. And it's just, bruh, you just gotta go to summer school, bruh. I mean, your life has changed. You had the opportunity to go through, as best you can normally, but now, I mean, this is your time to come up and be like, if he wants to do it, he can do it and make it happen. And I only hope that mom and the new school will give him the positive vibes for him to make that happen for himself. And if that's the case, awesome. Yeah, it's about support at this point, because he needs it, mom needs it, the school needs it. As far as stuff, E-Money 757, yeah, nobody wants to take ownership, man. I mean, the whole article talks about nobody wanting to take ownership. And it's just, as Moby said, it's the most disgusting thing ever. Moco Cowboy, at least the school was honest. They could have swept him under the rug like many others. They really did sweep him under the rug. I mean,
they've been honest like almost 4 years later.
Yeah.
I mean, that's because there's no way to hide it now.
They honest because they got caught. They honest because there's an article for us to talk about right now. So that's why they're honest. And I mean, yep, right. E-Money, most of this stuff needs to be made public so it can be easier to learn to. And see, that's the issue that I have with education, like public education, and the fact that as a country, we are not supporting public education the way we should. And this is why me and Betsy DeVos didn't get along, because she wanted to move all the money to charter schools for those kids, and as a person who grew up and went through and graduated from a public high school, who I feel like I am pretty intelligent because of it, I thought it was, I thought it was, I think it's insane for us to stop putting money in public schools the way we're doing now.
And I mean, you said you saw, I've seen this story on the internet too.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard this on any news source.
Not at all.
Any news source. And I watch CNN, I watch local news. Not one place have I seen anybody even gloss over this story.
Not a bit. Which is even more annoying. Are we gonna have dunk score? No, we're not talking about the dunk contest. I give a crap ass about the dunk contest. I mean, yeah, that's my statement. Now, if you want to watch us and watch the dunk contest, that's awesome. Not on this show. We not doing that.
Dre, he's old school fundamentals. He's like, it's still 2 points.
I mean, man, whatever. I don't even care. I just give her rats. I had that conversation before we go online tonight. All right, so hopefully in a month or so we'll get an update, see what's going on with that. But if we don't, all I can say is we got to make sure, we educate our kids, and whether you have children or not, make sure that your public educational system is doing what they should be doing.
And I got to respond to E-Money's comment because he said, why do you think the story wasn't made public? Because it's black people. Point blank. Because, and it's not sexy on CNN or the news. Like, it would alarm some people, but let's be honest, a lot of people would blame the kid, blame the parents. So I don't know if putting it on the news would be the best avenue, because then you're just going to get a whole bunch of blame and not enough like alarm and productive things. Like, I would love it to be publicized, because I think I want to believe that people are smart enough to realize that if he's in the top third of his class, the school as a whole is failing, not just this one family. But unfortunately, I don't believe in the media enough to portray it that way. I think it would just turn into, why did this kid fall through the cracks, as opposed to, why is everybody in this school failing? Because literally everybody in this school failing.
Yeah. I mean, and then I guess where I found the article, it was on the local news website. So it's not a national news thing yet. However, after I found it, I did see it start popping up in other places. So it's making its way there. You know, it's just, you know, yeah, it's not there yet. And it could be there next week, or it could never get there, you know. And yes, E-Money. So on the real, the teachers and school systems are not the same it was 20 years ago. So, hell
Not
no.
at all. Not at all.
Hell no. Everybody's underpaid, and you have some people who care, but then you have some people who just want to get their student loans taken care of, and then you just have some people who just need a job and don't care.
And
so
I'm glad you pointed everything to the school, but the truth of the matter is the kids ain't right before they get to the school, because it starts in the house.
And you know, I wanted to say that, but I don't have kids, so I don't feel like I have the right to say that. But you are very true. It starts at home, and if your home ain't right, your school ain't right, and it's just what it is. It's not. It is noticeable that regardless if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, or Asian, if you have a good home, your kids, for the most part, go to school and learn, because you know they do things at home like weapons and all that and whatever.
Well, it's accountability. If there's accountability at home, it's easier for it to take place when they leave the home. And there ain't no accountability at home, you can't expect the school to be able to enforce that.
And that's spoken from a true parent. He's the only parent on this board. So, you know, I know my parents gave me their accountability my ass. So, I mean, that's all I can say, man. That's all I can say. 5-minute warning. Yo, hopefully this comes up in the world so somebody else can talk about it too. And yes, zip code does matter, you know, but I guess my thought is your zip code may matter, but if your home still terrible, you could be in the greatest place ever and go to school and do a whole bunch of nothing. So, it's my 5 time. You know, today we got a special my 5. You know, we're gonna talk. You're gonna learn a little bit about us today and how we do our things. So, I guess the best thing to say is what we've done is we have picked 5 songs that tell about us. Now, you know, we'll tell you the songs, obviously. We'll explain why it is about us. And we're just kind of curious out there. If you have 5 songs about you that you want to talk about, feel free to write them in the chat. Excuse me, we'll talk about it. But yeah. So this will be interesting.
It's harder than you think, because it ain't your 5 favorite songs. They're 5 songs that describe you.
Yes.
Hey, you know what, Dre? That Never Scared actually was on my tournament of songs, because I had to make a little bracket to get to my 5 songs, and that actually was one of them.
I saw that when it popped up. I was like, "That's funny." AG, man, we haven't heard you too much today. Let's start.
You hadn't heard me too much because I said what I was going to say about that was stupid. I didn't feel the need to go on and on about something stupid. Life is a performance-driven business, y'all. Just saying, guys. Somebody got to do something. Anyway, my 5. I'm gonna start out with. Now, wait a minute. So when I say a song, I gotta tell. I am telling people why I picked it, right?
Yeah, I mean that's cool. And I mean, full disclosure, usually when we do the my 5, we have no idea what the 5 things that everybody else picked is. This time is different. We've known for a couple days, and like, to be honest, like when I listen to the songs that, you know, Ruben and AG picked, like it actually, I thought both of y'all picked songs that perfectly describe you. And when we get to yours, AG, especially that Tel Aviv song.
Yeah, that Tel Aviv song.
I listened to that on the way home from work the other day, yesterday. I was like, that is heat. I'm just waiting for somebody to J Dilla that one. Anyway.
So yeah,
Okay.
go for it, man.
So my first one is now I had it, like Moby said, it was really hard because I had to steer clear of things that I like and try to get things about my personality that somebody wrote a song about. And I have to credit my wife Lauren for this because she's the one that actually did all of it. Because I said, look, Moby talking that foolishness. And now he done gave me some damn homework. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I was like, okay, what is it about me? Because you look at me so you know what you're looking at, and then try to match a song. And it took her a minute because she goes for the stuff that I like. I said, no, that's not what the assignment was. But in this particular situation, a lot of the ones that were picked are songs that I like, but they do kind of refer to who I am or who I was trying to be, who I am trying to be. The first one is Bon Jovi, It's My Life. Now,
it's my life.
And then we got to get you singing. I knew it was
Sorry.
just knew it was going to happen.
Sorry.
It's all good. It's your show. So the thing about that song is that's a song about personal responsibility, as far as I'm concerned. And again,
that's so funny because when I was like, that was when I heard it. I'm like, yep, that fits in perfect. I'm like, all about personal responsibility.
Exactly. I mean, you might need to, again, there's nothing wrong with a helping hand, but you have to position yourself to get help. And then once you get help, it's about that grind. If there's something you want, go get it and shut your hole. It's that simple. Whoa. It's that simple. And then you can tell people, yo, I'm doing this. However, if you never do anything, you don't get to say any of that. You get to find somewhere to sit down. So that's what I get from that song. The second one is Metallica. Nothing Else Matters. Probably one of the best songs they ever did. First ballad they ever did. Best production they ever did. And the one in that album, the Black Album in general, is the first time they really wrote songs. So the thing about this one is it's all about my wife. That relationship is the greatest earthly relationship that I have, bar none. Love my dad, but he ain't my wife. Love my mom and stepmom. They ain't Lauren. Ain't never gonna be her. And everything I do is built around her. Everything I do orbits around that son. So that song kind of puts that in a way in which refers to me musically and lyrically. So the next one,
I bet she real red right now.
Oh, she's loving it, bro.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice too, because when I saw Metallica, and then I was like, man, you out of all the rock hard songs you could have picked, you picked the ballad Metallica.
Well, I'm telling you, it's the first time to see they had never written a ballad before, and when they did it, they killed it. I mean, I'm talking about when you're riffing on your guitar.
I'm about to say like the 45-second just intro to it. Just
I mean the production, the performances, the songwriting, everything on that song, actually everything on that record was perfect. It's the first time, because after And Justice for All, they were never that Metallica again. Nah. So that song in particular speaks to my wife, and everything. I can't mention a list about my personal life and not mention her. And
that's just a beautiful song itself.
It is. It is. I think sometimes the rock and roll gets in the way, but if you strip that down,
oh yeah,
the chords and a vocal,
it's just a beautiful song.
Heat. The next one, Lauren picked out in particular, is called "You Gotta Be." Again, one of those call to action type songs. If you want to be something, be it, man.
And it's one of the catchiest songs.
Huh?
It's one of the catchiest songs too, because when it plays, man, it stays in your head forever.
Exactly. Because this song came out in like 94, 93, 94. But it speaks to that part of me that's just like, if you want something done,
go get it.
Then what are you waiting for? Get off your ass and get it done. It's that simple. If you gonna talk about it and not be about it, then you that bitch I was talking about at the first of the show.
Damn,
so
two in the episode. Go.
I was about to say, I was like, yeah, man, you know, laid that B word down twice, and y'all usually get on me.
Hey man, and you know what? Shout out to my dad. If he hears this, he will be disappointed, but I'm just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. He probably will never listen to the show, but I do want to let him know that I'm sorry. but some things call for certain language. So for me, again, if there's something out there that you want, money, relationship, anything in between, it's your job to go get it. It's that simple. The next one is Tel Aviv. Now, I've been a Duran Duran fan since 82. And I was a Duran Duran fan when I was kind of a bandwagon dude, because I had to go from Rio and then go backwards a record. Because at that point they only had 2 records out, and Rio was the second one. So when I really got in, obviously I got into it because of a girl, but that's not even really beside the point. I had to just non-disclosure. So I'm listening to this, and then I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to this first record people keep tripping about, because I've already worn out the grooves. And yes, it was a record. I have dated myself, but I wore the grooves out in Rio. So I went back and got Duran Duran. So I listened to the first track, Heat. I was like, okay. Second track, third track, fourth track. And then I got to the last one, and I was like, okay. Then I was like, okay. Then I was like, oh, shiznit. What in the world? Man, Tel Aviv is a song that lit something in me that I didn't know was there, which was a love for Middle Eastern chord progressions and scales. It's a beautiful language musically. It always was and always will be. And that song to me is it's presented to me in a way in which I can understand it. And every time I hear it, it's like fire. And this has been 40 years at this point, actually 39, since I heard it the first time. And it's fire every time I hear it. And it made me love my wife a little more, because we had never talked about Duran Duran. She's a little bit more top shelf with her music, a little bit old school, a lot of Motown. So when she was like, oh, that's my favorite song, I was like, girl, I love you, girl. So just saying, that's a great tune.
I just thought it was fitting that the engineer of this show would pick pretty much the instrumental as one.
It's beautiful, man.
It's all about what they don't say.
Exactly. And the last one is Walking on Sunshine, because I think I'm just pretty much a happy guy. Sometimes I don't seem that way because I don't say too much. And then I've been told that I can scowl, but at the same time, it's like, if you can't at least tap your foot for that song, there is something broken in you that needs to be repaired. So that's it, y'all.
It is one of them catchy songs, man.
Awesome, man. I feel good that I know about my cousin, and it all makes sense.
Yeah, when I saw that list, I was like, yeah, that list that fits. And what's crazy about this is, like, we all have such different musical taste.
Oh yeah.
But it's weird how our musical tastes do still overlap.
Yep.
Like, even though, like, I'm not big on the genre of music that you listen to, AG. Like, all the stuff that you say, I'm like, yeah, I've heard that, and it's hot.
Yep. Sometimes it gets you, man, no matter what you like. Sometimes you listen to somebody else's stuff and be like, wait a minute. Okay.
All right.
I see you. So yeah, I do understand that, because I ain't gonna say you. I'll wait till you say yours, because I have some questions about yours.
Well, yeah. I mean, might as well go ahead and talk now, because he's up. Mo B, you're fine, bro.
Okay, so yeah, mine was really hard for me, because, like, I'm so all over the place with some of the music I like. And then as I was throwing out songs, like, there were some songs that I just knew, I'm like, yeah, Bombs Over Baghdad, easy. But I was like, even though I think that's the greatest hip hop song ever made, that don't really talk about me. And I was like, man, so this was difficult. So I went back in time and I worked my way. I kind of worked my way up to my adulthood through my music. So the first one is the one that y'all were surprised when y'all saw, which is weird, because I've known you for too long, Ruben, for you not to know this. But first song is Full Force, Ain't My Type of Hype. Now, a lot of people may not know what that song is, so I can explain it so that most people who are at least 30 over will know. It's the song that was playing in House Party 1 when they had the dance scene. So Ain't My Type of Hype. First of all, I love Full Force, and shout out to my cousin Aaron. Like, we were Kid and Play. Like, the embodiment of it. We could do the whole scene dance wise. And the older I am, the more I think about how our lives have paralleled like Kid and Play, because I was the goofy, super light skin, high top fade, won't necessarily the ladies man, but I was charming, you know what I'm saying? I was charming. And my cousin Aaron, I thought, like, when I was younger, there was nobody in the world that you could convince me was smoother than my cousin Aaron when it came to the ladies. And now we get older, and like it's like our lives have parallel, because if you don't know, in real life, Play is like Baptist preacher, and then my cousin Aaron, deacon. I'm just like, man, our lives have just parallel. You look at Kid, he's a comedian. He be dropping F-bombs and stuff all the time. You're like, man, you were the good one. What happened? And yeah, so that's kind of our parallels,
You were the good one. What happened? Is that light skin privilege again? You were the good one? Come on, man.
I mean, look, my cousin Aaron ain't exactly dark, but I mean,
no, he's not.
He ain't exactly dark, but I mean, I would say he probably had more dark skin tendencies than me.
Okay. Well, actually, I'm glad that you brought up this one first. I'm glad you went in order, because I listened to this song 3 times on the way home the other night.
First of all, I was, like I said, I was Kid. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out to Moby with
that was a good
picture,
man. That was a good picture.
I was Kid.
But the song is like, ain't my type of fight. But all the lyrics that I heard was, this girl was fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, are you saying that you're gay? Because you're not saying the girl, something wrong with the girl.
Well, no, but
ain't my type of hype. So help me understand.
Because she wasn't there mentally. That's why he said act your age and not the size of the pants you wear. So tight. So yeah, so she was fine, but ain't my type of hype.
Okay, well, that wasn't in the hook, because I couldn't read the lyrics and drive, so I was having a hard time understanding. And it was like, okay, now I get it. Never mind.
So basically, he's saying, "Girl, you may be fine, but if you dumb, I ain't messing with you."
Exactly.
Ain't my type of hype.
I got it. Thank you for that, because I was totally.
That's what the whole song's about.
I was totally confused. Okay.
Because dang it. Never mind. Continue. I had something and I lost it.
My second song is actually my daughter brought it up, because which is crazy how she remembered. But years ago, we were driving down the street, and my playlist was coming up, and this song came up, which is totally not necessarily my genre, but it's Green Day, Time of Your Life. And it's one of my favorite songs ever, because it's kind of how I've navigated through growing up, getting older. It's kind of how I look at life. Basically, like the song is it's just a dope growing up song. You formulate all these memories, but life keeps moving. And I've just always loved the song. So I'm just like, if you listen to that song, like, you're getting a glimpse on how I kind of look at life. And she brought it up. She was like, "What about that song?" And I was like, "You're right. That song fits." So my 10-year-old, helped me with my list.
She knows you better than you think.
And that song, when she heard that, she was like 5 or 6, because this is when she was in her plain white tee era. Because she loved that group. Gosh, she loved that group.
I remember that.
Granted, she's grown up to Bruno Mars now, so I guess she's evolved musically.
I hear the sarcasm.
No, I love Bruno Mars. I think he's the most talented dude, like, in music, to be honest. But so my third song, now, Virginia is my home. I have lived in Virginia longer than I've lived anywhere else. But anyone who knows me knows that I am from Georgia. Like,
yes.
So Pastor Troy, no more playing GA. Like, as I used to tell people when I first moved to Virginia, or now that I'm older, I tell people I was from Georgia before it was cool. Because the early 2000s, the Atlanta hip hop scene came up, and it was cool all of a sudden. But I was from Georgia before it was cool. And Pastor Troy, maybe a lot of people don't think he's made it as an artist. People don't consider him a down south legend. But if you've ever gone to a University of Georgia football game and you've seen 70,000 people in the stands, and about 65,000 of them are white, and Pastor Troy comes on, and they all getting hype. I looked around that stadium and I was like, "Yep, Pastor Troy made it." These white people don't know who Pastor Troy is, but every Saturday his song gets sampled.
Yeah, he's true. That place is crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, is this backwards day?
Yeah, like, but basically he's like, "Yo, don't none of y'all know what this song about."
But they were hyped. Everybody was singing and everything. I was like, whoa, what the hell?
65,000 white people saying we ready. I'm just like, wow, that's
we ready. I was like, what? We about to get lynched up here.
I like that song too. I listened to your whole list.
I love that song, man. I still listen to that song.
Only thing that bothered me about it was I couldn't hear the lyrics over the gunshots.
Yeah, I mean, look,
this was bad. I was like, dude, I gotta hear what he's saying. It's just like gunshots through the whole song, but I couldn't hear what he's saying.
Look, man, they were low budget, man. They didn't have they didn't have you producing, man.
Well, no
production, bro.
You know what? OG, I appreciate that, but I can't take that compliment from you because I'm just merely talking about pushing up the fader, man.
AG, it won't for us, man. It won't for us. It won't for us, AG. I love you, man, but that song won't for us. That's why. That's why you couldn't hear stuff over the gunshots.
Is that why?
Yeah, because I know every word of that song.
Because I can't hear stuff over the gunshots either. And yeah, man, it won't for us.
Okay, so it wasn't just me then.
No. It won't for us.
Okay, because I listened to it like 3 or 4 times, and I was like, I can't look at my phone right now. I want to know what he's saying. I can make out some stuff, but
I could barely.
Overall, I mean, the beat is hot though. The beat is hot for real.
Yeah, I barely know what the dude's saying. So I mean, that won't for us, AG.
Won't for you. It's all right.
I mean, it's cool. I'm fine with it. It just won't. It won't for us.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't for us.
Understood. But actually, I can't wait for Moby to get to the next one because I got something to say.
Well, see, I'm gonna do that one. That's gonna be last because the next one is gonna be Timberland and Magoo, Up Jumps the Boogie. Because, like I said, I'm from Virginia, so musically, when I moved out of Virginia, like I was still listening to pretty much all the stuff I was listening to before. But then there became a time when Virginia was the hot scene, and I felt like Up Jumps the Boogie is like basically the acknowledgement that Virginia is pretty much my home. When you got Timberland and Magoo, who I think he's a very slept on rapper. I thought Magoo was a decent rapper and everybody clowned him all the time. But if that song don't make you feel good, and when you're from Virginia, when that song comes on and you got Aaliyah's vocals on it, like I don't know who you are as a person. Because when that song come on, I just feel good. Yeah,
it's cool getting a shout out because he was talking about my other house in VA. I was like, okay, I hear you, brother. Because I know where he's from, but it's, to still get that shout out, it's kind of cool. So I do understand.
Yeah. Well, so the last song is, and it was so hard for me not to have like this whole list full of Outkast and Goody Mob and all the Southern people. So Sleepy Brown made a song called Can't Wait featuring Outkast. And the reason I picked this song is primarily because of the music, because I feel like that fits me because it's such an old school sound with Sleepy Brown singing over. And anybody who knows me, I'm such an old soul when it comes to music. But Andre 3000's verse is literally kind of how I look at life. Like everything, like he tackled so many issues about how I look at life in that one verse. Like how I look at women, how I look at growing up, being from the South. Like he tackles all of that in the verse. So I was just, every time I hear that song, I'm just thinking like I could have wrote that song if I was smarter. Because he was so, I think it's one of his best verses, which is hard because I think he has so many great verses. I think that's one of his best verses of all time. And if I wanted somebody to know how I think about most things in life, I would say, just listen to that verse and you'll pretty much have me figured out.
I caught that. I did. I listened to that whole thing. I actually listened to it a lot because that song is fire. But the biggest thing I want to say about it, number one, whoever mixed that, oh my God.
Hot.
Wasn't that Organized Noise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, it's not Organized Noise.
Well, they were executive producer, but they cut that sample from, it's like 2 or 3 different samples in there.
Oh, okay. I get that. But I'm just saying the beat was there and you can feel it in your chest, even at low volumes. But the idea that a guy that was rapping at a whisper, talking about Andre 3000,
Yeah.
you can still make out what he was saying, the use of compression and EQ. Oh my God. I'm like, who mixed this? And plus it was fire. I was like, man. And then Sleepy Brown gave a shout out to Megadeth. I was like, yo, I was like, that's all I needed to hear. I was through then. I was like, come on, y'all, for real. Dope song.
Yeah, but Andre 3000's verse is like how I look at life. When I cuddle mine, she ain't even trying to look sexy. But even if she was, so what? Motherfucker, grow up. Don't mean to be so abrupt, but that lets me know that she's a human being, and being human's hard on the boulevard. Like, I was like, that just capsulates how I look at life.
Wow.
Well, women-related issues, like, you know.
Awesome.
Good list, man. Good list.
So my list is pretty pedestrian.
Nah, your list captures your personality perfectly.
Oh yeah, I mean,
perfectly.
so we'll start with probably I would say the shock of the list. You know, Walking on Sunshine. You know, AG and I like the same song, and for me, I mean, just like for him, you know, it's just like, yo, life is just being you, doing you, enjoying life. If you're out here stressing all day, that's a you problem. You need to take that crap for yourself. I ain't got time for that. And I just rather be happy than anything else. I mean, don't get it twisted. I don't want to be poor or nothing, but happiness is my main life. That is it. If I'm not happy by myself with somebody else, if I'm not happy, the world sucks. And I never want the world to suck. So I'm just all about being happy. And I got to be able to find happiness in anything. So, and Walking on Sunshine by Katrina and the Waves, one hit wonder. But like AG said, if you can't tap your feet listening to that song, you dead inside. It's just what it is. And
one hit wonder, but they made their money because that song been in so many commercials.
Oh yeah,
everything.
Look
who's talking. Look who's talking. That's the song, man.
Things everywhere.
Yes, sir.
So of course, my music genre is very different than the other two.
Pop.
I'm a pop kid, yes. As Long as You Love Me by Backstreet Boys, because literally in my world of worlds, look, man, if we together, we together. And as long as you love me for me, I'm gonna love you for you, and that's it. You know, I don't care what you did in the past. If I got over that, I'm over it. I don't care. I'm all about the heart, man. And yes, I'm probably a hopeless romantic, all that craziness.
That phrase is exactly what I was gonna say. Like, your list is the list of a hopeless romantic. And
yeah,
you're not wrong with it, but like, I listened. I was like, man, that's so him.
Yeah, I mean, I just love. I want to love. I feel like if I could have a half relationship as AG and his wife's got, life is beautiful for me. You know, and I strive every day for it. My next one is Old School Love with Lupe Fiasco and Ed Sheeran.
Fire.
Same thing.
Fire.
A lot of people don't even know that song. I saw that. I was like, bro, I didn't even know you knew about that song.
Come on, man. Yeah, same thing. It's all about, you know, just loving somebody and just loving somebody. And that's it.
As Lupe say that in that song, that late 80s, early 90s kind of
I caught that and I was like, for real, yo.
That loving basketball love. That's what I'm talking about.
That late 80s, early 90s, old school love.
Yeah. That's yo, man. That is so. I'm a Cancer. So, you know, emotional is my bag. It's just what it is. High Hopes, not Drake. High Hopes by Panic at the Disco. You know, once again, look, get it done. If that's what you want to do, you can do what you want to do. You know, as people who know me, super positive, super emotional, positively. You know, I can't watch certain movies because I cry. It's terrible. It's the worst crap.
Hey man, this whole podcast thing we on is an example of your optimism and like the High Hope song. Like when I heard it, I was just like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things, man. It's just like one day I'm gonna make it, and your definition of making it is different from mine. But as long as I make it with my definition of making it, your boy's good, and that's just the way I feel about it. And then the last one, "Groove is in the Heart" with Delight and Q-Tip. Yo, man. I mean, there's a part of me that wishes I was much older in the 70s to truly appreciate the late 70s music at that time in my life. And, once again, Parliament Funkadelic, Earth, Wind, and Fire, this song reminds me of that. And, it's just, and they just to hear Bootsy, "Groove is in the Heart," just to hear Bootsy Collins, just reminds me, just brings back
Bootsy, my man, yo.
Yeah, I just want to, like, literally, man. I hear that, and the next song I want to hear is September, and then next song I want to hear is Boogie Wonderland, and it's just like, I want to hear all this old stuff, and it's just like, it just puts me in such a positive place, because when it's all said and done, in my heart of hearts and in my world of worlds, I feel like all worlds should be that positive. I can't do it by myself, but I can at least make sure that my little corner of the world is that positive. And that's what I do. So that's my 5.
Nice list.
So yeah, I think everybody's list was pretty good. So
I mean, more importantly, I think everybody's list kind of captures who they are, and that was the point. Like, I thought it would be a challenge to be like, hey, just find 5 songs that describes you. Like, if a complete stranger didn't know anything about you, hey, listen to these 5 songs, and you'll get a piece of me.
Yeah, that's it. And, Stan Bush Dare by KBI. I don't know who that is, but I'm gonna listen to it now. Dare to be all you can be. Hey, that's a nice statement. Optimus is his man's as well. Yeah, I know that. And that's Optimus Prime, by the way. So, that was a good my 5. I hope the people who listen to the show learn a little bit more about us. So, AG, what's left on your mind, bro?
Okay. This is all sparked by a movie that my wife and I watched the other week, The United States versus Billie Holiday. And if you haven't seen it, I don't care what color you are. If you haven't seen it and you got a heart, you need to watch it. It's off the chain. But apparently racism is legal in this country. And I know we all know that, but sometimes you had them damn moments. It's like, for real? And I'm watching this, and the movie starts out with the fact that in the late 20s, 30s, and 40s, legislation was on the floor to end lynching. Not civil rights, just lynching, which is a civil right, but it's so fundamental. I don't even want to call it a civil right. And none of them passed. None of them ever got past Congress. And then at the end of the movie, 2018, the same type of legislation, all encompassing, was put on the floor, passed the House, and failed to pass the Senate. We haven't gone anywhere at all. And then the next day, I hear an argument was brought to the Supreme Court to justify the continued suppression of the vote. Because apparently the GOP can't win if they can't suppress the vote. So now what you're telling me is not only can you legally lynch someone as far as the law goes, but we can also take an argument that's against the law in some ways to the Supreme Court so a party can win an election. And now you're not even talking about black people. Now you're talking about collateral damage to everyone so you can suppress the vote. And it dawned on me. I'm like, as much as I feel like this can't be happening, this is happening, folks. Be on your P's and Q's, dot all your I's and cross all your T's, because they're coming to get you. They will not stop until you have no power, until they can do and say what they want to say and not get canceled or talked to. This is going on. It's always going to go on. And these two things are just one, two items of of many that are still happening, and apparently it's all public. So just understand that, folks. Racism is alive and well, and most of all, legal. That's what I got.
Very strong message from AG. Hey, y'all. Just watch yourselves. Mo B, what you got? What's on your mind?
Well, over the weekend, as I do most weekends, I went and saw my grandma, and I realized that I'm really a big proponent of like studying history. My daughter was going over the American Revolution, and they were talking about Abraham. She and then she told me Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves, and that like killed a part of my soul because I was just like, they're still preaching that. So like I went on my high horse, and I'm telling her all the history lessons and everything, and then I realized that the most important piece of history that I feel like we're missing is our own history. Um, if you have people in your family that have actually seen things and were there when things were happening, like we really need to tap into that. I spent the weekend literally looking at like old pictures and asking my grandma about stuff that was going on, while my daughter was there. And like I realized that we've lost community because we've lost our own personal history. We've lost our community in a sense because we don't have community within our community. I pulled this picture up. Yeah, that's me with the old school posse from the AP Hill Elementary Rec Center. Yeah, you see that fly denim with the crease? With the crease? Wow. Boy, you couldn't tell me nothing.
We all knew you was fly, though. We all knew you.
Yeah, you couldn't
right.
tell me nothing in there. But I put this up there because like this is where I'm from. Like, my daughters aren't necessarily aware of everything that happened to me. So like, how can I be mad when I'm letting other people teach her the history of us when I'm not teaching the history of us, when I'm not teaching her history of who she is and where she came from? So I say that to say, what's on my mind is like we as a people, and I'm not even just talking about Black people, I'm just talking about people in general. We as a people need to do a better job of like keeping our own history alive, verbally, spiritually. Actually, if you actually have those people in your life, we just need to do a better job of actually passing down lessons and life and information, because we get all our information from a phone now. And then I get mad at people for being shallow because we get all our information from social media, but that's our fault. We haven't instilled any other baseline place for people to get information. So yeah, man, know your own history, man. Like study people in your family, ask people about your history before we go attacking everybody else for telling the story of history. That's all I got, man.
Nice.
I like it. I like the message. Definitely. So what's on my mind is I want to give a shout out today. One of my good friends, partner back in the day of Legacy Internet Radio, Marcus J. In January he shut down the Den and he put his show on hiatus. However, tomorrow on Monday the 8th, because I don't know dates. Monday the 8th, the show's coming back. Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J is coming back on legacyinternetradio.com. What I want everybody to do, if you're listening, go to legacyinternetradio.com tomorrow, 7:00. Tune in. He's been on hiatus for 2 months, but that's like where I got myself back into wanting to do radio. And now, that podcast came from that because I wanted to do some stuff like that. So www.legacyinternetradio.com. Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J. I would like everybody to tune in, show him some love. I mean, he has an awesome show, and I'm glad that he's back on the air because we miss him, and we're glad that he's back. And once again, if you listen to me, brother, I'm glad you're back on. I'm glad you're getting back on the air tomorrow. You know, always holler at me when you need me. But yes, Marcus J is getting back on the air with his show. Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. And you can find that at www.legacyinternetradio.com. And everyone should check it out. If you check it out, you're missing out. If you ain't checking it out, you're missing out. That's what it is. So
Agreed. Love that show.
Yeah, co-sign on that.
So other than that, you know, I think we had an excellent show today, gentlemen. I'm glad that we got to give a little piece of ourselves to our crew out there. I'm glad that, you know, we talked about a couple of important things. Next week, of course, we're back every Sunday, 9:00. Look at the bottom. Of course, I got to make sure I get my right finger. That's our Twitter and IG if you have it. And at the bottom, way at the bottom, check us out. Twitter, Instagram. You can hit me up on the email if you got a question. Twitch, YouTube pages went up today. So definitely check us out. Tell a friend. Thank you for listening. Thank you, AG. Thank you, Mo B. Awesome show. We will see you next Sunday, 9 p.m. Yes, remember, spring forward. So take it easy. We out. Stay safe out there.
You can send any questions or comments to FIVE Minute Warning 19 at gmail.com.
The 5-Minute Warning can now be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Breaker, Google Podcast, and Radio Public. Share, like, subscribe.
You've been listening to the 5-Minute Warning with Ruben Brown. Search 5-Minute Warning on the Spotify app. Peace.
Stay safe out there.